Hey, Paige. What you doing?
Subscribing to BarkBox.
Oh, is that the one where the puppers get a monthly box full of toys and treats? Also, doesn't charge you more for having a bigger dog, so that each pup gets the size of treats and toys that they need?
Yeah, that's the one, Sam. And did you know that if you use our link, barkbox.com/M3 True Crime Pod, you'll get a whole ass month free.
Let us help you spoil the shit out of your puppers.
I'm Carmen.
And I'm Joanna.
And we want to introduce you to our podcast, Live, Laugh, Murder. On our podcast, I, Carmen, tell my co-host Joanna, say, hey.
Hey, girl.
I tell her a story, and it is not always true crime. We are true crime with a twist.
With a twist, like a twist. Got it.
The twist here is that sometimes the stories I tell Joanna are true crime, and sometimes they are the plot of a creepy movie. So listen in and join us as we tease Joanna to see if she can figure out which is which, because she is not the creepy movie buff or the true crime enthusiast.
Nope.
And can you figure it out as well?
Yeah.
So that's us. Join us, Live, Laugh, Murder podcast, and we love you.
You won't be disappointed.
You won't be disappointed.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, Paige.
What you doing?
Trying to figure out what my excuse for not going into work tomorrow is.
Nice. Can you find me an excuse, too?
No. I've got like...
What do you mean, no?
No, I don't really know what my excuse is gonna be, though, but I feel like it might revolve around an alligator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to sling one into your house?
I mean, if you could find one and do that, that would be a great excuse to not go into work.
We can probably borrow one from maybe Patty Cakes.
Payback's a bitch, you know that, right?
Carmen might have some
Ooh.
alligators, too. Hey, Carmen, can you send us an alligator?
We'll meet you halfway.
Where the fuck were we? Oh, besides that, Sam, what else are we doing?
No, we're recording a podcast.
What's that podcast called?
M Cubed.
Murder, Mystery, and Mayhem. Speaking of Carmen, the ad you heard earlier is Carmen and Joanna at Live, Laugh, Murder podcast.
Murder.
Live, laugh, but never murder podcast.
So Carmen and Joanna have a really awesome podcast. It's a little different than our other true crime podcasts that we recommend in that they're not always true crime stories.
A twist. True crime with a twist.
It is true crime with a twist. Carmen will tell Joanna a true crime story or the plot of a movie.
Yeah, and she has to guess
And
which it is.
And then there's also a cuss count, which I find fascinating.
That is very funny.
Because could you imagine trying to keep track of ours?
I don't think I can count that, huh?
I don't think I can either. It's like in the intro, I'm pretty sure we said like 5. No, maybe
Just
not.
5?
No, actually, I think it was just a couple. But still, like anyway, they're hilarious. And you should definitely give them a listen.
Yes, Carmen tells the stories so well.
Mm-hmm.
And Joanna also does her Florida Man Tales, which is also hilarious.
They really are.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, girls, y'all got a gator, you just let us know.
Yeah, you should let us know. I need to get out of work tomorrow. You can find them on Instagram.
You can, indeed.
Yeah. And you should. You should go find them.
You should, yeah.
But why?
Because it's lit! Oh my gosh. People are gonna be like, what, are they on crack?
I've just been drinking a little bit. It's fine. It's fine.
Fine.
Only half a bottle down.
I need to do some of those exercises because apparently I cannot speak today.
What?
Watermelon, alligator. What is it? Banana. You gotta say a whole bunch of different words. Why are you looking at me like that? Like a vocal warm-up.
Okay, that's cool and all, but like the things that you were saying did not register in my brain as to what the fuck you were actually talking about. And I'm over here thinking about the damn songs that the kids sing all the time. Apple Annie, Apple Annie, where? Oh, how are you? Anyway, Apple Annie likes to tell people what she likes. It starts with the letter A. Alligators, apple. Oh no. Alligators, astronauts.
Sam.
I had a stroke. Anyway.
You are drinking apple wine.
I am. And then when you said bananas.
Banana.
All I could hear was Zane singing.
Bananas.
Nope. I like to eat apples and bananas.
Mom life.
Mm-hmm. And then
Updates.
And then the watermelon went.
Where the watermelons grow. That one?
Yep.
Not
Down by the
watermelon
bay.
sugar.
No.
Hi. Watermelon sugar. Hi. Is that
Welcome
how it
to our
goes?
singing segment of
Oh, you don't want to listen to me
ridiculousness.
sing.
Anyway.
Updates.
Updates. What do we got?
We have hit 3,000 downloads.
Woo!
We are actually past 3,000 downloads.
We
We
are.
hit it a little while ago, but we didn't announce it.
Why didn't we, Paige?
I don't know. I just haven't done it yet.
That's true. You do those things, not me. Not it.
I'll do it.
Do it.
Eventually.
Okay.
Maybe when we get to 4,000.
Be a few weeks from now.
No, but that's awesome. Please keep listening. And if you like what you hear, just go over and hit those 5 stars, please. Rate and review. Tell a friend.
Tell your friends in Rhode Island and North Dakota and Alaska. We really want to fill up the fucking states.
We want to probe you.
Probing.
But yeah, that's all the updates I got. Do you have stuff for after?
I do have a little thing.
That's what he said.
I do have a thing, but it's not like a long drawn out thing. It's funny as fuck though.
So, this case, I've kind of already told Sam about it.
Oh, hey guys, guess what? It's a Paige-esode.
Sorry. I have to tell you bad things today. I can't be the
I'm glad
good
it's
guy.
not me today.
I know. She's just over there sipping her wine.
Who says sipping this thing? Come on.
Chugging that wine. Chug, 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 chug.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
But this case is really heavy. So I am going to go ahead and let you know there are trigger warnings.
There's all the warnings.
Sexual assault. It is graphic.
Yeah.
So if you don't like that sort of thing, if you want to just catch us on the next episode, we will miss you. Or if you just want to also just fast forward to the end.
Yeah.
Because Sam's got something funny at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Or like we'll try to put a little reminder in there that hey, this is where the graphic shit's gonna happen. So skip forward a little bit.
Yeah. I have a lot of like little inserts too for this. So my notes are kind of everywhere. Because I initially wrote it. And then I found out more shit. So I was like inserting shit.
Oh, no. She initially wrote it. Then we recorded it. And
Yes.
then we're like, nah, bitch, this can't happen.
Yeah.
Because she found more information. Which is much better than putting out the original one. Because this way, we could get all the facts. Not
Yes.
just some.
Yeah, I've got a lot of shit going on with this. So I'm sorry if it is everywhere. My brain is kind of just chaos in it. And trying to put it on paper is also chaotic, so.
That's going to be great. This episode is chaotic as fuck.
It really is.
Already.
And this is really, this case is,
Terrible.
Yeah.
It's a fucking terrible case.
it is.
So all the triggers, just, again, all the triggers.
It's not just terrible for the victim. Obviously, the victim, it's horrible for the victim and for the victim's family. But I believe it's also, there's more than one victim. Mm-hmm. And I want to let you guys decide.
Yeah. You
may believe the right person was convicted, and you may not. But I'll let y'all decide. Give you the facts.
And then you let us know.
Yeah. Yes, definitely let us know what y'all think in the comments, because I really would like to know. Because this is a crazy case. So this case starts on July 11th, 1985. Late afternoon, 2 Marines are jogging near Millington Naval Base in Millington, Tennessee, which is near Memphis. They hear a blood-curdling scream and run to the sound. They see a vehicle race away and report it to base security. They help actually look for the vehicle, but wind up empty-handed. They return to their barracks, but really they were only in there for a little bit, and the Marines were asked up to security to identify the vehicle. They said it was a dark-colored station wagon, license plate. It was Kentucky tags. So whenever they got up there, there was a station wagon there, and it did have Kentucky tags. They were like, yes, I believe this is it, but they couldn't be 100% sure because they were so far away.
Yeah.
You know, whenever they came up on it, the car was, like, out of there. One thing that they were definite on was the sound. They said that it had a sound to the station wagon, like it was about to break the fuck down, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So whenever they were like, yeah, we don't know that this is actually the station wagon, but when that station wagon started, they were like, yeah, no, it's it. That's gotta be it.
Huh.
The person in the vehicle is Sedley Alley. He was a civilian who was married to his wife that was a military personnel on base. So they lived on base. Mm-hmm. As far as security knew, they hadn't committed any kind of crime, though. They were just seen racing away from a place, and a scream was heard. Nothing else has happened, though.
Okay, so the scream was heard shortly after they see this car
race away. Mm-hmm. But that's it.
Okay.
That's all that has occurred. They reported the incident to security. Security talked to Sedley. Sedley had an alibi. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not an alibi. Sedley just told them what was going on.
Yeah.
And they let him on base because, I mean, what else could you do?
Yeah.
It was suspicious, but
nothing more could be done at the time.
Right. That next morning, the body of Suzanne Marie Collins was discovered. Marine Lance Corporal Suzanne Marie Collins went out for a jog, which was a normal occurrence. She was a student at the base and was scheduled to graduate from avionics training the next day.
God, the next day.
Yes. The next day she was going to graduate. She's going to...
So fucked. And she was young.
Yeah, she was only 19. She was only 19. She's been through basic training. And she was getting her wings there in Memphis. Or in Millington. Sorry. When she hadn't returned back to her room, her roommate reported her missing, which led the police to find her. This is where I want to insert the trigger warning. It was reported that she was taken to nearby Edmond Orgel Park. There, the kidnapper severely beat Collins, fracturing her skull before repeatedly shoving a tree limb up her vagina with enough force to penetrate her abdomen and tear one of her lungs. The autopsy would state that Collins died from blunt force trauma to the head and internal bleeding from the tree limb. Apparently the tree limb was actually sharpened.
Oh, God. I didn't know that this could be any worse, and it just got worse.
Yes.
The first time I remember thinking, and being not well for a couple of days, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, this is awful.
I hate this.
The kidnapper then ditched her body and fled the scene. Clothes, including a man's red underwear, were found close by. So there is stuff that they can test.
I still have questions, like why. The first time we recorded this, I asked why there was underwear.
They believe it was the kidnapper's underwear. That's what they believe.
Okay. But still, Maybe they removed their clothing to make sure they didn't have any evidence or whatever on their clothing. Then again, they'll still have to pick up their stuff to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. Now that I'm thinking about it. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm getting real squirrely here. If Sedley did this, and he was soon, stopped at the security station area, wouldn't there be blood? Or something to indicate that this traumatic thing had happened?
So, when they are questioned, his clothes appear to be clean. He appears to have some sort of blood on his shorts. However, it wasn't enough to test, to actually get DNA sample. They could just tell what type of blood it is. And the blood matched both Sedley and Suzanne, because they had the same blood type.
So he could have cut himself shaving.
Yeah. It wasn't a lot of blood, especially for something like that.
Yeah, she was brutally murdered. There would be more than just a small spot of blood.
There was a significant amount of blood underneath her as well from where with the branch. So one would think that there would be more blood on the person who did it.
Yeah.
Yes. But all they could find was some blood on his shorts that
may or may not be hers.
May or may not be hers. They also, okay, and I'm going to get to more of
Sorry,
it.
I know I'm throwing you off on your story.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I'm going to need you to keep asking questions like that so then I can, because I've got it all in my head.
Yeah.
It's like trying to put it on paper and telling it to you that is the disconnect sometimes. So whenever you ask me questions, I can think about what is going, what it is, pull it out and tell you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When word got to the base of the murder, Allie was immediately arrested by military police. Immediately.
Damn.
He voluntarily gave a statement to the police admitting to having killed Collins. Some reports said that the accounts that he gave were not accurate. He would say things, for example, he said that he ran her, he hit her while she was jogging.
Yeah.
And then he tried to take her to the hospital and she was threatening him. And so he took the screwdriver that he actually had a screwdriver to start his vehicle because it wouldn't start. So he had to use a screwdriver to start it.
Wow.
So different accounts said different things.
Yeah.
But on this one account, it said that she accidentally fell on the screwdriver. And another one was that he stabbed her in the head with the screwdriver. The autopsy, from what I seen, said that she had blunt force trauma, and it didn't show any kind of...
It didn't indicate stabbing?
Right, penetration or anything like that to her head. However, the actual appeal stated that Sedley took the police officers over the route that he had taken that night and to the location of the murder and accurately identified the tree.
But at that point, too, wouldn't he have known because people were talking about it?
Maybe.
You said that the news of her death...
It was spread fast, yes.
It went quickly, so it could potentially be that he... I'm sorry, I'm making a case for him. I don't mean to. But it doesn't seem like they looked any further than him.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, it was suspicious that his car went by when these other men were jogging.
Mm-hmm. And the Marines...
And it could have been his car. Mm-hmm. But does that mean that the person who did it couldn't have, run the other way? Or they stopped short from seeing the person because the car was going? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, they were running and then because they hear the scream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they see this car speed off and they're like, oh, that's definitely suspicious. And then they focus solely on that and not the person that
actually, yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
It will all make sense to y'all once I read all of this. Once I give you all the facts. No. No. Because you're asking the right questions, you know?
Well, it's hard because I've heard it before, but there's some stuff that I didn't think about the first time around.
Right.
Just then, what if?
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't really specify what type of road it was. Was it a dead-end road?
I think it was like, because they were kind of
Weird
like at
trail?
like it's kind of like a golf course and a park. So I think it might have been like a parking lot that he was speeding away from. I believe so anyways, because it was, where she was found was like in between like a golf course and a park.
That's weird.
Yeah. So what he had claimed was that him and his wife got into an argument. She went to a Tupperware party, which had pissed him off, and he had already been drinking. He had beer, he had wine, he was heading back to get some liquor and to pick up his wife, I believe, from the party.
That's a lot.
So this is where he told the police that he had accidentally hit Collins while she was jogging because he was drunk. And like I said before, he had varying stories saying that she fell on a screwdriver, but there was no wounds identifying a screwdriver. So there's that.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Also, there were no wounds consistent with her being hit by a car, by the way.
Even the blunt force trauma to the head.
There was blood on his vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It did match the blood type of Suzanne and Sedley. Not enough. From what I read, there wasn't enough to actually test the DNA.
Yeah.
But there was enough to know what blood type it was. And apparently, Sedley and Suzanne had the same blood type.
That's crazy.
Yes. That was in the appeal, actually. But the way that it read was like it was Suzanne's blood. Like, that's how it read in there.
Oh, is that how the prosecution was phrasing it?
Yes.
Okay.
But it would say the blood type O, which is Suzanne Collins. But then it also said something about Sedley's blood type was also O.
Well, in the appeals, it'll try to break down the statements that were made in the trial.
Okay.
So it'll be like, well, the defense attempted to make this argument. However, it's inaccurate because of this.
Okay.
Or if he appealed based on inadequate representation.
Mm-hmm.
Representation. Anyway, so inadequate representation, then they could have said, in the defense of this argument here, this type O, whatever, could have in fact been Sedley's rather than Suzanne's.
Okay.
Appeal paperwork is weird.
Yes, it is. It really is. Like, kudos to you, because fuck, that shit's ridiculous. I'm going to go over some of the evidence that was found. So there was hair collected from a few things. There was hair on the victim's shoe, which was Caucasian pubic hair. However, there wasn't enough to test.
So on Suzanne's shoe.
Caucasian pubic hair, yes. And then on the bottom of her socks was African American hair. But they said that that's probably just where she, like, walked around in sock feet and just got some on there, you know?
Yeah.
Like how the bottom of my feet are always covered in dog hair.
I was gonna say, like, is it a communal laundry situation?
Maybe, probably.
Where other people, use the same washing machine?
Could be. I mean, they pretty much just said that's just because she was walking around. They didn't try and test it because there was no point. They don't think that it was anybody that's African American descent. There was hair found on the victim's waistband, and it was determined to be medium brown Caucasian body hair, so probably like from arm or leg. Again, it was too small to test. There was 4 hairs found on the victim's shirt that were light brown Caucasian hair, which I believe they determined belonged to the victim. And apparently, hair similar to that was found in Sedley's station wagon. Sedley petitioned for all of that to be tested, but it was denied.
Under what grounds?
So they appealed it multiple times, and I can't remember what the first one was denied for. I know the second one was denied because pretty much they said that the evidence, that it's been like 20 years ago, and it's non-existent, pretty much.
Wow.
Yes. Now, on this first one that they denied, I can't remember. I honestly can't.
Yeah.
I think because he specifically wanted this stuff on this first appeal, and then the next appeal, it's specifically other things. And then the next appeal, it's specifically other things.
Yeah, you gotta leave it open.
Yeah.
That way you have a foot in the door every
To
time
keep
you do an
going.
appeal.
I realized that. So this one was specifically that hair and some of the blood. So
Yeah.
I'll go over some of the blood evidence.
Mhm.
So blood, like I said, was found on the driver's side door near the headlight of Sedley's vehicle. The blood found on the driver's side door revealed to be O blood type,
Mhm.
which is the same type as the victim.
And also accused perpetrator.
And also Sedley. That's what it says. Also, Sedley also has that blood type. Unless this is inaccurate. But it is the appeal.
I need somebody that does DNA testing to explain this to me. How do you figure out the blood type, but not go any further to do the actual DNA sequencing? I don't know the process. So maybe somebody explain the process to me. I need to know.
Or maybe that's what it means, that it is her blood. But it says, the way that it reads is, the blood found on the driver's side door revealed type O blood, the same as the victim. It doesn't say
that it was definitely hers.
Yeah, it just says
they definitely only did the
blood type.
Blood typing, but not
This
the
was-
DNA sequencing.
And this was also back in the 80s.
That's true.
So maybe they couldn't do that back in the 80s, whereas now they can, but they just don't have the...
But if it was a small sample, then maybe they used that sample.
and now it's gone. So that makes more sense to me now.
But I still want somebody to explain the DNA sequencing to me.
The screwdriver actually did have blood on it, but it was a very minimum amount of blood, not enough to be able to...
Do any further testing?
Yes. It says that it was found on the scene. However, another statement said that it was in the vehicle.
Because that's how he started his fucking car.
Yes. In another...
So he couldn't have left it on the scene and also started his car to peel away.
Yes. So that's... I was like... I mean, I still put in there that it was found at the scene, but I believe it was in the vehicle.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also there was like a bloody napkin on the floor of his vehicle. But again, there was not enough blood.
Was he prone to nosebleeds?
I don't know. But my thing is,
There was a lot of blood.
There was a lot of blood. If he had hit her and then put her in the vehicle,
there would be more blood than small thing on a bloody napkin and a small spot on his pants and a small spot on the screwdriver.
I mean, really.
And they're all very strange. So, like, if you pick somebody up that's injured,
Mhm.
you don't put them in the front seat. You put them in the back seat and you lay them down. Right?
You would think so. And this was on the driver's side door.
So, I mean, yes, if he had picked her up and there was blood on his hands and he touched the door, then, okay, I could see the transfer there. And I could even see the transfer on the screwdriver, but you would find more inside the vehicle. If it transferred from her to his hand, then there would be more in the vehicle.
Now, this is also weird, too, though. There was no blood or semen stains found on the victim's clothing. There was only blood on the defendant, on Sedley's shorts.
Mm-hmm.
But the blood type could not be determined on those. Okay, so they couldn't determine it on those. Just on the door.
Huh.
Which was type O. Okay, something else, too. There was... Not only was there weak physical evidence, because I'm sorry, that's weak.
Yeah.
The eyewitness reports against him was also not good.
I didn't specifically see him.
Well, key witnesses, apparently one person actually did see him.
Mm-hmm.
The witness described a 5'6" to 5'8" man with short brown hair and dark complexion. Sedley is actually 6'4", with medium red hair and a light complexion. I mean, that's a big difference.
That is a huge difference. Yeah, that's a massive difference. You can't...
Also, the tire tracks found at the crime scene were not Sedley's vehicle. Shoe prints found at the scene did not match his shoes either.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But he confessed. It's the 80s. He confessed to it.
How long was he in interrogation?
So, from what I read, he was in interrogation for a while. At first, he was like, I'm not telling you shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, listen, if you will just get me some cigarettes, I will fucking tell you whatever you want.
Oh.
They got him cigarettes and he spilled his guts.
Oh.
Do I believe it was coerced? Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I do. Possibly. I don't know.
It's weird. They don't search any further than him.
They don't test any... Well, they try to test evidence, but they don't get anything
But it's also in
from
the
it.
80s, so Testing has gotten a lot better since.
And they didn't take care of the evidence so they can test it later.
Because they were convinced that they had their guy.
So we're going to go on to Sedley's defense during the trial. It's fucking chaotic a little bit, and it makes you doubt his innocence. Yeah. Because he wasn't a great person. Sedley Adley, he was an alcoholic. He did recreational drugs. He did beat his first wife, and I believe he beat his second wife, the one that he was married to then.
Damn.
That is what the claims say.
Okay.
Do I know this firsthand? No. But that is what the claims say. Sedley's defense team, they decided to say that he was insane.
Okay.
They said they tried to claim that he suffered from multiple personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
That he had multiple people living inside of his body. They were trying to prove that it wasn't him in charge of his body, but one of his other personalities.
Yeah.
They actually said while he was in, because he stayed in the mental institution for a while to, be
evaluated.
And they said that they would watch him mimic other patients. That he would sit there and, sit with them for hours and mimic. And so when he would get in the room with a therapist, that he would do the same things as they would do. And he was actually pretty smart about it, too. Mm-hmm. He figured out what he should be saying and stuff like that. However, the therapists, they know when someone's faking.
Yeah.
So they did say that they believe that he was faking. But I'm going to go over the different personalities because I just think it's interesting.
Yeah. Also, this is now called dissociative identity disorder.
Yes, I have it in
or
here too.
Did.
I've got that in here. So some of the different personalities that Sedley claimed that he had were called Power or Death and a female named Billy. So the therapist actually hypnotized him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this last time.
We did.
Hypnotism. How do you feel about it?
I think it's fine in most settings, but not in a mental health setting.
Yeah.
The brain is a crazy, weird, fucked up place.
Mm-hmm.
And in that particular setting where you're trying to figure out the events of a murder, it's probably best not to put somebody in a suggestive state. Just a thought.
Yeah, I agree. My grandpa, he has done hypnotism for, 7 years? 72 years? I can't remember. He is 94.
Yeah, but he did the fun hypnotism.
Yeah, he'd make you cluck like a chicken.
Did he ever make you cluck like a chicken?
No.
Why not?
No. I mean, he probably could have, but no. He did, stop smoking. He'd help you stop smoking or lose weight or be more positive. He does not believe in fucking doctors whatsoever.
Really?
He hates doctors. He has, a whole freaking medicine cabinet of herbs that he takes daily. And, I mean, hell, it's worked. He's 94, still kicking it. At 80, he was playing basketball. He's...
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, yeah, he's done hypnotism, all his stuff.
Dude, I'm a very skeptical motherfucker. I want to believe in things, but I can't quite let myself.
He wrote a book. Do you want me to let you read it?
Yeah, please do.
I've got it somewhere.
I'll find it. I want to read this book now. We'll do a review on the podcast.
He would love it. But anyways, we got way off.
Yeah, we got a little squirrely there.
You're going to have fun editing this. Anyways, so they try to hypnotize him to awaken his other personalities, Power and Billy. Billy was a female, I believe. They were trying to prove that Power was in control the time of the murder. However, this did not work out. They did diagnose him with something, but it wasn't did. It was borderline personality disorder.
It would be interesting to see what he would be diagnosed with at this time. Because
right.
Things have changed a shit ton since then.
Right. This was back in the 80s. So, the accounts are kind of different, too, on this as well. Because some of them say that he did have multiple personality disorder. But in the appeal, it said no. That they diagnosed him with a borderline personality disorder. And that he did not, in fact, have multiple personalities. So I'm going to go with the appeal on that one.
Okay.
But you can read about the different things that they said about the personalities, if you are interested in that. Like, apparently Billy was a female, and she was, like, soft-spoken and stuff like that. And then Power did not give two shits about anybody, supposedly. And Power is supposedly the one that murdered Suzanne. So this is what they were trying to use to get him out of the death penalty.
Oh.
Because that is what was on the table,
Yeah.
the death penalty.
Makes sense.
So, to me, it feels like they are just doing last-ditch...
straws.
Yes. Last-ditch effort to not get him an injection, you know?
Yeah.
So, even with no physical evidence, Sedley Alley was convicted on March 18th, 1987 of murder in the first degree and was sentenced to death. He was also convicted of aggravated kidnapping and aggravated rape, for which he received consecutive 40-year sentences.
Consecutive 40-year sentences.
Not concurrent, consecutive.
And concurrent is where it's done all at the same time. You
Yes.
serve all of the years at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas consecutive is you finish one round, I guess. That sounds terrible. And then you start the next.
Right. You serve your 40 and then you do your other 40.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to think that through again because for some reason I get really confused. Just at random times, like I know what it means,
Mm-hmm.
but I get confused.
So,
Blame it on the
alcohol. So, of course, Sedley, he appeals multiple times. The first time he appealed was over all of the evidence that we went over earlier.
The blood evidence.
I believe,
essentially.
yes.
Or
And
the hairs.
The blood and the hairs.
Okay.
Yeah, both of those. He did appeal for both of them to be retested. They denied it.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 2004, I believe. Or it might have been a little bit sooner than that. On May 19th, 2006, he files for a second petition.
Mm-hmm.
In this petition, he is wanting more DNA tested. DNA from the men's red underwear that was found next to the victim's body.
The logical step.
And they believe that they were worn by whoever did it.
Yeah,
And
I would
he
say
is...
the underwear is not found in a place between a park and a golf course very frequently.
Right. And why would Sedley want that tested if it wasn't him?
I could see both ways. Like, he could get an appeal. It would just extend his life a little bit longer.
Oh, he's definitely doing all these appeals to extend because he has death sentence right now.
But, like, even if they find his DNA on that, it's such a long-ass process.
Okay, so he's just
So
prolonging
you have
it.
to go through the appeal process. Then at that point, if it's approved, then they can move forward with testing, and that there's a backlog of everything right now. And a 30-year-old case isn't going to mean shit.
So that could be the reason why. He also wants blood or skin cells that was on the stick. There's paper wrapped around the stick as well. And he wants that tested.
Wait, did you just say there's paper wrapped around the stick?
That's what it says. It says paper in which the stick was wrapped. So whoever did this wrapped the limb because it was sharpened.
Yeah.
So whoever...
That takes time.
Mm-hmm.
So did they bring the limb with them?
No, because
That's
she
so
was
fucking
found...
weird.
She was found in the park by the tree with the limb.
Yeah, but was it a limb from that tree, or...
Yes.
How sure are they?
As far as I know, they're sure.
Oh, okay.
This is also back in the 80s, and I'm reading appeals. But, yeah. Because apparently he pointed out the tree that he got the limb, and the limb was broken.
Yeah, but, like, if I go outside and the shit ton of trees that are outside my house right now,
Yeah,
I can point to any of them and there's going to be a broken branch.
true. That is true.
It just seems like it would be a process to sharpen it, wrap paper or whatever the fuck around it. And
Well, I
then
figured
also,
they probably wrapped the paper around it to keep from breaking off any of their skin onto the branch. What do you think?
Yeah, but then why leave the paper on there? Unless I was going to call them Navy SEALs.
It was a naval branch.
Well, unless the two guys that were running initially started running that way, he got freaked out, dropped the shit, including his underwear, and took off. But if that's the case, how did he fucking teleport to the car?
True.
Sorry.
No, yeah, I got you. There's more questions too that I have, but okay, so he also wants to petition DNA testing from the material underneath the fingernails of the victim.
That would be a good idea.
Swabs from the victim, like on her, I believe it was her thigh, and of course vaginally, because there was semen. So he wanted that to be tested as well, and then of course the hair. There's some more hair.
There's so much they could test.
Because there was blood and hair found on and in his car that were directly linked to the victim at the trial. Because it was, remember I said like the strands of hair looked like her hair. Mm-hmm. And the blood was O.
But there was no matching of, I don't know how the fuck.
No, it wasn't matched. Yeah. I think you have to have the root, right?
I have no idea.
Maybe not.
Somebody who knows how to do that, tell me. Please.
Yeah. I'd love to know. But yeah, he wanted it to be tested to see if it did match.
Yeah.
Like you said, it could be prolonging the inevitable. And that's the only reason why he wants to do it. But
like, why wouldn't you want to do that? If nothing else, you are guaranteed to know who the fuck did it. I mean, yes, it's gonna be more money for the state, and we all know how Tennessee is with their money. But I would rather spend that extra money on the extra testing than to execute someone which is also going to cost a shit ton of money for the state. I would prefer to know 100%.
Yeah, you would think.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, he confessed.
I don't give two fucks if there was a confession, to be honest.
He confessed, so they said, and they had an eyewitness of the vehicle, but they couldn't name, they just knew that it was a station wagon, and it had wood paneling on it. They did say that it had Kentucky tags on it, and he is from Kentucky.
Okay.
So.
Fine. But still.
Not only does he want this tested, he also wants it tested against Suzanne's ex-boyfriend, John Borup. Borup. He actually admitted to being with the victim the night of her murder.
The night of her murder?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he admitted to being with her the night of the murder. She was said to have died. I'll pull that up in a minute. I've got it. I've got it pulled up too, and I'll.
For some reason, I was thinking she went on a run at like 5 o'clock in the morning, or was it?
No, it was late afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Late afternoon when she went for a run.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of that teacher that recently died by being kidnapped and was running at like 5 o'clock in the morning or some shit like that. Comparisons. My brain's a wild place.
The state's theory at trial thought that Suzanne had died at 11:30 p.m. However, the medical examiner had determined the victim had died between 1:30 to 3:30 a.m. But if that is the truth, if that is when she died, Sedley was nowhere around there. He was being questioned by...
So what time did the people hear the screams?
It would... she went on the run late afternoon. It doesn't say exact time. Yeah,
no, that doesn't seem right to me. Because aren't there like curfews or some shit? Especially for not yet graduated individuals?
I don't know. I don't know about that. It was late afternoon in July, so she's probably right. It was July. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was hot, so she was waiting until...
That makes sense.
When it was darker. Yes, it is really fucking hot, so she was waiting until it was later. Yeah. I'd probably say 7 or 8. Right? Well, it says late afternoon, so maybe 6 or 7.
Like 5 o'clock would be fine.
Yeah, but she said late afternoon. I feel like, well, afternoon. Evening is 5, right? Fuck, I don't know.
At this point, it is at some point in the after lunch.
It's late afternoon. I'm picturing like 6,
Sun
7,
starting to
something
set,
like
kind
that.
of.
Yeah, because it's hot as fuck.
Okay,
And
but,
she's only
like,
jogging.
If she died during that time.
It says that at first they said that it was 11:30, but then the medical examiner said 1:30 to 3:30.
Then he wasn't there.
Sedley was being questioned at that time.
Wait, no. Was he?
That's what it says. Hold on.
So no, that's right, because he had gone to tried to get on the base, and they stopped him because the suspicious.
Right, and that's about the time that he was stopped.
That seems so late, though.
He had just picked his wife up from a Tupperware party or whatever.
Again,
so it
Tupperware
could have been
parties
late.
To me are like a no-go. But aren't those usually like earlier in the day, like brunchy time with those fancy-ass people that drink wine from an actual wine cup with their pinky out?
I think of
One
like... I think of like Beetlejuice. Not Beetlejuice, fuck. Edward Scissorhands. Like, you know, their little quiet town. Yeah, and how, you know, it's Mary Kay calling or some shit, you know? And that's what I think of for some reason. I don't know.
You know, I feel like it would be more of a brunchy thing, not a late afternoon
Yeah.
thing.
But, so there was...
I'm so sorry.
You're fine. There was some reports saying that he was being questioned then, and there was some reports saying that he had not technically been questioned then at 11:30. We're still at the 11:30 mark. That he had not technically been questioned then, but he was there shortly after, and there would be no way for him to be able to do it, clean it up, and go through checkpoint in that amount of time.
Yeah.
Is what their reasoning was. There was like no way to be able to do that.
That makes sense to me.
Because if this is all true, then him sharpening that would take time. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, again, all of it.
Unless it was something that was done
prior to it? Okay.
Because, you know, like in the Kitty Genovese case, like, dude was stalking.
Right.
He knew what he wanted to do. He just didn't know who he wanted to do it to yet.
Yeah.
That sounds real fucked up.
No, I know. I understand what you're saying. I mean, yeah, possibly. I don't know. There's just so many what ifs. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it could have been premeditated. He said that he was drunk. Was he drunk whenever he was pulled over? Like at checkpoint?
If that's the case, when they do something, MPs are sticklers for all the shit, right?
I mean, it didn't say anything, and she could have been driving, not him, whenever they pulled up to the checkpoint anyways. Right. I'm going to tell you what he said about John Borup. So, John Borup, who was Suzanne's boyfriend at the time, reportedly, she had 2 boyfriends. She was 19.
Get it, girl.
Right. She had someone that was not living in the area at the time, and then she met John, I think, like at a bar or something like that, and they hit it off like instantly. Her and John did. So they started dating. Both of them, I mean, John didn't know about the other one until he did know. John also drove a dark wood-paneled station wagon.
Huh. Was it also in disrepair?
It does not say that. But he did drive the station wagon at the time of the murder. That is something that they could not find because Kentucky, when they called state of Kentucky or whatever, and wanted the records from that time, they said that they throw them away after 5 years. So they purge them from the system after 5 years. So they did not have that record.
Really
convenient.
Fucking stupid.
Really fucking convenient, too.
I mean, yeah, for him, but like, that, don't get rid of the fucking records. Find a better place and way to fucking store it. Sorry.
We have to get rid of our records, too, after so long. But we
like,
electronically...
Case closed, sure, whatever. But not with somebody that's an active fucking driver. Makes no fucking sense. Your face.
But yeah, so they couldn't tell if he ever had Kentucky plates. But I mean, if you bought the vehicle from Kentucky, you would have Kentucky plates. Not just if you were to live there, you know?
Really?
Right? If you bought, like, I'm not saying, like, if you bought, well, no, because you would, no, never mind, because you would take those tags off.
You would take the
tags off and give it to whoever.
And then they would do it wherever the fuck you live.
Yeah. Never mind, just disregard all that bullshit. So, not only did he drive a station wagon like the vehicle described, he is also 5'8", medium build, short dark hair, and dark complexion with no facial hair.
So he is literally what an eyewitness described him as.
Yes. And,
Not
I mean...
this tall-ass ginger man.
Not tall-ass ginger man, but...
Short-ass, dark-haired...
I don't think 5'8" short.
Compared to the tall-ass ginger man?
Yeah. Yeah.
5'8" is not short. I'm 5 foot. Like, he would still be a giant to me.
Facts. So yeah, he's driving a station wagon as well, and he matches the description of the person that she is seen with. He does say that he was with her that night. So did he meet her running and then left? Did he find out about her other lover? Get pissed off?
Does he have a history?
I don't know. I searched him hardcore and couldn't find shit. That's it. That's all I found on him.
That's weird though. Did law enforcement not look at him at all? Were they so focused on...
They were focused on Sedley.
Yeah.
Because this was an appeal. This was him appealing to please take evidence, or please test the evidence to John.
Yeah.
Right, John? Is that his name?
So essentially, I'm not your guy, but here is a guy saying,
right.
Reasonable doubt, it
right.
is me.
Because like I said, the tire tracks and the shoe prints did not match the defendant, did not match Sedley.
Uh-huh.
The fingerprints found on items near the body also did not match Sedley. Well, this is in the appeal. This is what he's saying. We need to test this to John because they don't match me.
Okay.
But I also don't know that they even fucking tested it to see if it matches him.
Did they just see fingerprints and be like, oh, those are Sedley's. Can't be anybody else's. Nobody else had any reason to go after this woman.
Right.
What the fuck?
Or it was only like a half a print. This was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Maybe they couldn't test it. I don't know. Fuck.
Pretty sure they could do comparisons.
Surely.
At that point.
Yeah, I mean, you would think so.
Pretty sure.
Memphis may be behind. I don't fucking know. So, the court determined that several items were no longer in existence for DNA testing or in a suitable condition.
So did they agree to destroy evidence? Like, because after a while in evidence, after somebody's been convicted, I don't know if there's a fucking time frame or not, but I do know that the courts do have the ability to destroy evidence after a case is closed. After a certain period of time. I don't know what that fucking period of time is, though.
It didn't say anything about destroying the evidence. Apparently some other things that they could have tested but did not, included a blue exercise belt belonging to the victim, a beer bottle, styrofoam drinking cups, her shoes, bloodstained grass collected from beneath the victim, and I reckon they didn't test it, but most of this stuff is now unable to be tested.
No fucking course it is.
It says there is an issue of contamination of certain physical evidence because it has been in custody for 20 years or more. But
awesome.
It says, regardless, the court agreed with the trial court that even if testing of these items did reveal the presence of a third party's DNA, the defendant had failed to establish, in light of the evidence of his guilt, that 1, a reasonable probability existed that the defendant would not have been prosecuted or convicted if the results did obtain DNA. 2, a reasonable probability existed that analysis of the evidence would have produced DNA results that would have rendered the defendant's verdict or sentence more favorable if the results have been available at the proceedings leading to the judgment of the conviction.
But I feel like, and again, I don't have a law degree, but I feel like that had they tested that evidence
beforehand.
Well, even at this point in the appeals process, had they tested that evidence, it would have put reasonable doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, they're shutting down any possibility of getting to that reasonable doubt point, because previously there was no doubt because they didn't search for anybody else. They saw station wagon, dude acted a little weird, this is him.
Confession.
After hours of being in the interrogation room.
Blood that matches her blood.
But also his.
Lastly, the court, they pretty much say that the only reason why he is trying to get these appeals were made for the purpose of delaying the execution of the sentence.
And it very well could have been. That is a tactic that you can use to extend your life just a little bit longer.
Right.
Even if you are a murderous asshole.
Right. So that last appeal was in May of 2006. Mm-hmm. So June 28th, 2006, convicted killer Sedley Alley was executed by lethal injection early that morning after a night of pretty much them trying to...
last-ditch efforts.
Yeah, to stop it. Sedley Alley was 50. He was pronounced dead just after 2 a.m. His children were there. His last words to his children were, stay strong.
Mm.
Yeah. Which the daughter does not believe that he did this.
See, that's also something that doesn't scream, I'm a murderous asshole that did this brutal act to this woman. Even if he was an asshole. I'm not defending him as a person.
Right.
But in this particular instance, I don't see it.
Right. And so much so that the Innocence Project is actually advocating for him. So in 2001, the Innocence Project and his daughter, they tried for another appeal to clear his name, to try and find who really did this. Denied.
Of course. They can't prove the testing now, because if it does happen to do the testing, and it shows that he wasn't, like his DNA is not anywhere near it, then that means they gotta pay out a shit ton more money.
Right.
Because their ass is gonna get sued.
Fuck yeah.
So, in the long run, would have been smart to just go ahead and test that shit.
Which they may not have had that capability. There may not have been enough to test. I don't know. I mean, for someone to murder somebody and there not be that much blood in their vehicle, that's kind of strange, especially when he said that he transported her in the vehicle.
Yeah. No, that doesn't make any sense.
So anyways, Sedley Alley claimed his innocence. He said that he was coerced into confessing the crime, that he did not commit it. He believes that it could have been John Borup, who fit the description. Another person that I will be also researching could have been Bruce Thomas. Bruce Thomas was actually another student that was in Suzanne Collins' class. He ended up being a serial killer 20 years later. He would also sexually assault his victims and kill them. I will go more into that. Yeah. Another time.
Because you have to bring the most brutal things.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But that's what you do. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
This is why it's sporadic when you do cases, because you do such fucking terrible ones. You need a long ass break.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Suzanne, she was a badass. We're gonna talk a little bit about her. She was a badass. She went to Paris Island for boot camp. I don't know if you've ever heard of that place, but it is fucking hard as shit.
Yeah.
I've never been there because I'm a wimp. But, and this was back in the 80s, so you know it was probably hell. She went through that.
Yeah.
Her father also was in the military, so she traveled a lot because she was military brat. And she looked up to him, and that's why she joined the military. She was due to graduate from flight school and was only 19. She had her whole life ahead of her, and it was cut way too short.
Yeah, fucking was.
Her parents, they also established a scholarship in her name, the Suzanne Marie Collins Perpetual Scholarship, and that was first awarded in 1996.
That's really fucking cool, though.
So her name does live on. So yeah, this is the case. What do y'all think? Do you think it was Sedley? Do you think it was the ex-boyfriend? Do you think it was Bruce Thomas out of left field? I mean, it could have been his first kill.
Or did he become a killer because of that incident?
Maybe. I'm definitely going to research more on him and come back to him. Next Paige-esode.
Paige-esode!
Personally, I don't think it was Sedley.
Yeah.
I think that an innocent person died.
I think that's a very big possibility. I'm not entirely sure how he would have gone through trial. Maybe if they hadn't tried the insanity defense, maybe that would have worked better in their favor.
If he hadn't.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the only reason why they tried it is because
they knew they weren't going to let up.
Yes. And they weren't testing any of the DNA, and he confessed.
Yeah, but why didn't they just go with the I was coerced? The defense makes no sense to me. Right. Because if I were, again, not an attorney, I'd just play one on TV. I'm sorry, I'm a whole bottle in.
God, it feels later than 7 o'clock. It's only
really
7
does.
o'clock.
I'm
Holy
so fucking
shit.
sleepy. Yes. Anyway, so I'm obviously not an attorney. I haven't gone to law school. But I don't feel like the prosecution would have had enough to connect him directly to this murder had they not. So essentially my brain goes, oh, they tried the insanity defense, so obviously he's guilty.
Right.
I think that's what happened.
Right.
Whereas, had he gone and said, I was coerced, this is why I made this confession, maybe they would have looked at him in a different light.
I don't know. Because, for me, okay, I think automatically they believe that it was him. Mm-hmm. So whenever they interrogated him, they can say whatever the fuck they want. Mm-hmm. So they were saying, we know you did this. We know. We have you. Like, we have evidence. We have all this bullshit. And that's why he was like, yeah, I did it. Finally, you know?
Also, if he was an alcoholic.
True.
Did you know that alcohol and benzos are the most dangerous substances to go cold turkey on?
Really?
So at what point did he make this confession after not having alcohol for so long?
Yeah, especially if he was an alcoholic. They said that he was an alcoholic and he did recreational drugs. Mm-hmm. He actually also did LSD, I believe.
That's gonna fuck up your brain anyway.
Yeah.
But seriously though, at what point did he make this confession? Because he should have been taken to a hospital, detoxed properly, and then questioned relentlessly, if that's what they wanted to do.
Right.
But the evidence that they have does not seem to match up with him actually doing.
From what I have gathered, what I have read, no, I don't believe so. I don't believe that he is the one.
Yeah. I'd love to see transcripts.
There are so many fucking appeals and so much paperwork. Whenever I was looking up, like, actually going to the Court of Appeals or whatever and looking at all the shit.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And he just kept getting denied. The judge on the case also got dismissed because of reasons.
Because of reasons?
Yes. Yeah, he was not. He was very biased.
This doesn't seem to add up. That's all. Like, he could have done it. He could have.
Yeah, I mean,
and maybe the coroner was off on the time frame for her death. Maybe the blood that was on him was hers.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced. I don't think
convinced.
that if I were on that jury, I would be convinced and convict him of
murder.
When
I did not find any physical evidence placing him there.
Yeah.
Just the eyewitness, which they heard the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
What did John's vehicle sound like?
Yeah.
And even if it was Sedley there leaving,
it doesn't discount the fact that
maybe he did leave her there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like or what if it was his wife screaming?
Yeah.
You know?
Or what if the other person, an actual assailant, was there but hid, and when Sedley's car drove off in the opposite direction, they'd stop looking for whatever the fuck was screaming, because
right.
At that point, there was a person that was too far away to do anything about.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was no noises, they wouldn't go and look any further. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's a lot. It's a crazy case.
It is.
It is, and
I hate that it happened, like, completely. It makes no sense at all.
yeah, it's awful. It's heartbreaking. She was so young and had so much ahead of her.
Mm-hmm.
She was badass.
She was.
And
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it wasn't Sudley, was it the boyfriend? Because she was dating 2 people. And this is allegedly she was dating 2 people at one time.
But if it wasn't Sadly, who the fuck was it? And did that person then go off and murder more people?
If it was her classmate,
Then absolutely fucking
then
did
yes, he did. Because he went on and murdered other women, which I will research more.
Yes, you will.
If it was the ex-boyfriend, it looks like he only did it once because I couldn't find shit on him at all. That's all I could find was that he was the ex-boyfriend.
Changed his name?
Probably. I would say so. I would. If I was a murderer trying to hide. Be like Dexter. Show up as a lumberjack.
With the most inconspicuous or conspicuous. I don't know. I'm broken.
Me too. So yeah, that is the fucked up case that I have for you today.
You did a great job, by the way.
No, I didn't. That was
you
so...
really did. We were really fucking chaotic, but...
That was so bad.
No, it wasn't.
It was just so much information. Trying to get it out of my brain and onto a script was just fucking impossible. There's just so much information.
Yeah, there was a lot of information, but I think you did really good.
Until you go back and listen to it, you're like, God, no.
No, never have I actually had that moment listening to any of the cases that we've presented. Like, at all.
Sam, that was a full T-Rex episode. How do we get back to neutral? Did you like that?
That right there. That's how we go back to neutral.
We haven't said that in a while because they haven't been too bad. Yeah,
because I needed it.
Well, that was full T-Rex right there.
Yeah, fucked me up.
This is also me when random people message us in Instagram and I don't know what to say back to them and I'm like, I'm like, I don't know what to say to you.
No, that's when I just leave it alone for a minute and then I'll get back to it.
I know, you leave it and then I'm like, she already opened it.
So?
Should I say something?
Listen,
it gives me anxiety when you open them.
Listen, I'm a squirrely ass bitch, so if I'm in the middle of something, like working, and I see that there's a message, I will look at it, I will think of a reply, I will put my phone down.
Yeah, I know. And then I'm sitting here, like, freaking out about it.
So if you ever message us and it happens to be open quickly, it's because I, Sam, opened it, looked at it, thought about a reply, and forgot to fucking reply. That is what happens. And then 100% of the time. So Paige, at this point, everyone's been put on notice now. So don't fucking freak out.
No, it gives me anxiety when we don't answer you right away because I need to answer you right away. So if it's open and I've realized that it's open for a while, that Sam has opened it.
Sam does open it. Sam reads all
It
the
gives
things.
me so much anxiety that we have not messaged you back. I'm a people pleaser, okay?
Let's stop that shit.
I can't. It is in my bones.
We're gonna have to figure out a way. But anyway, so,
take more meds.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you about a thing that happened while I was at the office this week. I was there by myself, and this guy comes in, and he's talking, and honestly, there is absolutely nothing wrong, negative, aggressive, or anything of the sort that is coming out of his mouth or in his body language. Nothing. It's a normal-ass conversation. And if anybody else would have been there, they would have thought I was being very dramatic after he fucking left. Because I feel like I'm being very fucking dramatic after he left. But as he's sitting there talking to me, I don't know what it is. I start feeling that fight or flight response. Mm-hmm. You know, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. And
it just builds. And he's there for a good 15 minutes, maybe 20. I don't know, I lost track of time to be honest. But like, it builds. to the point where by the time he leaves, I am so fucking nauseous, I'm trying to fight the urge to throw up. And again, I realize this sounds really freaking dramatic, but I didn't calm down for like 6 hours after he left this office. And again, there was nothing. There was nothing negative. There was nothing aggressive. There was nothing that would have indicated that he made me feel uncomfortable, or would have indicated that he would have made me feel uncomfortable.
Have you ever seen Odd Thomas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dude that's followed by all the Death Eaters.
Well, see, the thing is, I'm pretty sure that this man has the potential to be a murderer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Because I worked for DCS, Children's Services, for like 7 years. There was one other person that made me feel this way. Just one. And I was right about him too. So like, I don't know. This is your PSA to follow your fucking instincts.
Yes, gut. Yeah, trust your gut.
If you get a weird feeling, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Thankfully, all is well.
I was about to say, you didn't get the fuck out.
No, because I was in a professional fucking capacity and I'm gonna start bringing a fucking taser. What are you talking about?
Oh, you got cameras all up in the office. Surely he's seen them. Wow.
Maybe the cameras being present did actually affect that. So yeah, that's the one of the many things that happened that was creepy last week.
Yeah.
But that was the most important thing, because I was reminded once again that your brain, even though it seems innocent, may not be.
Yeah. It's good to know that you can pick up on that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. I still, even going to the office this week, I'm just like, extra precautious. But anyway, so yeah, that's my bonkers thing that I needed to share, and I needed you to be like, things. Yeah. Would you like to tell them anything about New Mexico?
Yeah, so when we were in New Mexico, we used a lot of Ubers. I started calling them boobers. We started calling a bunch of boobers. And I get to know all the boobers because that's just who I am. I like to know. I feel like if you humanize yourself to somebody, they're less likely to chop you up into little bitty pieces as well. So
that's one way to look at it, I suppose.
Yeah. So I get to know the boobers.
The boobers. And
there was one, he was telling me about a time that he was driving through Texas, I believe. And we were talking about Breaking Bad and how they actually sell like the blue sky candy. Meth, but it's candy.
Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah. And he said that he actually got pulled over in Texas, and he's from New Mexico, and he had that blue sky candy in his console. So they detained him until they were able to test it. But once they tested it, they could see that it was pure sugar.
Oh my god.
And not meth. But yeah. But I just thought that was funny because we were just talking about that not too long ago in one of our other episodes. Yeah.
Did you fill him in on the other random shit that we talked about that episode?
Yes, I did tell him that, which is funny.
Did you tell him to listen to our podcast?
No, I didn't tell him
Damn
that.
it, woman.
We should have. But I was telling him the one about the Jolly Ranchers, and funny enough, the next Uber boober that I got into had Jolly Ranchers back there as candy for you to just take. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not touching that.
No, I wouldn't touch it.
Because now I'm afraid that it might be meth.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I thought it was funny. Right, I went to the Breaking Bad museum, and it was pretty cool, actually.
That sounds awesome, though.
It's in the Breaking Bad store, so, like, you can get shit, and then you can go look at shit, and there's, like, places that you can sit and, like, take pictures and stuff like that.
Cool.
But it has, like, authentic stuff from the show. And if you were to go to the actual Walter house, his house, the lady has it, like, barricaded because people keep throwing pizza on her roof. So she, like, sits out there and yells at people.
I could see that.
That is so funny. I mean, that would be annoying.
But if somebody fucking lives there, don't fucking do that.
But, like, don't buy a house that's famous.
There's that as well. you gotta expect the ridiculousness from people, but at the same time, if somebody lives there, don't fucking do that shit.
Don't throw pizza on her house.
Don't throw fucking pizza on her house.
That's funny, though. I thought it was hilarious, but yeah. But yeah, that's just, quick little story. Now show me what you got.
Okay, there we go.
Headphone on.
Headphone on. I'm gonna show you.
I can hear us talking.
I know.
Boober.
Don't read this yet.
Icelandic people are throwing baby puffins off of cliffs. Baby puffins are called pufflings, and they're born at the end of the summer in the Western Islands, and it's called puffling season. The whole town goes out at night on puffling patrol. They jump from their burrows at night to fly out to the ocean, but they end up confusing the streetlights with the moon, and they crash into town. Then they're put into these boxes to keep safe. Even the puffers in the harbor need to be rescued. Even though they're strong swimmers, the oil from the harbor can be too heavy on their wings and they could drown. They need to carefully be detangled from these nets, and they're hardly ever hurt. The next day, everyone takes their boxes of puffers out to the cliffs to release them into the wild. They have to be thrown in the air in order to start flying, and they stay out to sea for the next 3 to 5 years. This tradition brings everyone together in the Western Islands, and all members of the community of all ages get involved. If you like this video, let me know down below, and make sure to follow me for more of my life in Iceland.
What the actual fuck? So wait, there's just puffins everywhere.
Yeah.
And they fly into lights?
So they...
And you have to...
Yeah. So there's this Icelandic tradition, essentially, because once they started getting, like, streetlights and stuff like that, the baby puffins would take the streetlights as the moon.
The moon.
And then start going toward the town instead of going toward the ocean. And so now they have this whole ass tradition where you have to go catch fucking baby puffins.
And you throw them?
in boxes and toss them up in the air.
Oh my god.
And then they go out to sea for like 3 to 5 years or some shit like that.
Poor puffins.
But like...
They are so confused. Turn off your lights!
Brian is showing this to me in the middle of eating lunch today, and I'm dying because he goes, "Did you know that there's an Icelandic tradition that they throw baby birds off a cliff?" I'm like, what do you mean? You need to show me right now. And so he shows me this video, and I'm dying laughing about the time that the person just tosses the bird up in the air.
She just throws the puffin off the cliff.
You know, when I laughed really loud, that's about the time that...
Those poor puffins.
I thought it was hilarious.
As long as they say that none of them get hurt, so that's good. Turn off your lights, Iceland, so the puffins don't get hurt.
They get kids in on this, too, like, to go catch the puffin babies. It's a whole family whole family outing.
Let's go catch some puffins and throw them over
Let's go to Iceland.
Over the side of the cliff.
Let's go to Iceland and go catch some baby puffins, okay?
Next intro.
But yeah, I needed to show you that.
That's cute.
It is.
It is cute.
But in my head, when he was like, that they throw baby birds off a cliff, I was thinking like football style, not like gently holding it in your hand, cupping it in your hand, and then just like tossing it up. Yeah. Why
would you think football style, Sam?
I don't know, that's just the image that I had in my head.
Oh my gosh. It's not, what's his face from South Park? Kick the baby! Play Kick the Baby?
Well, maybe it is.
What is his name?
I don't know.
Kyle. No. What's the baby's name?
I don't know. It's been a really long time since I watched South Park.
Me too. I used to watch it all the time. Kick the baby.
But yeah, so I will post that video.
It's so cute.
Or the link to the video, and you should watch it as well.
I'll put it on the story.
Yeah, we should do that. It's really funny.
It's cute.
I just think it's funny. Like, just
I'm glad they're not throwing them like footballs down.
I can't help what goes through my head initially. I can't help it. The amount of weird shit that goes through my head before I get to the actual thing that occurs. It's a good thing that my mind cannot be projected onto a wall.
It's a good thing you have a filter.
Yeah. You've seen my filter. You've seen my mask. That's why I'm so fucking tired all the time.
Oh my gosh, man.
Anyway,
If you would like to contact us,
you can do so by
Instagram,
Facebook
Twitter,
or our email.
which is m3truecrimepod@gmail.com.
You can find all of our shit at the link tree that's going to be down below.
In the show notes. What is on our link tree, Sam?
All sorts of shit.
All of our platforms where our podcast is located. Our website.
Our Patreon.
Our affiliates.
The case request /suggestion /random facts button.
Buttons.
Yes, we made a Google form, and it works out fairly well. I will. We need to share the one that you did as a test. Like penis McPeterson or some shit.
I don't remember what it was.
I don't know, but there was all sorts of penis jokes in it. You can find all our socials there too.
Come talk to us on Instagram.
Please do. And then I'll leave you on red, and then
Paige will freak out.
Paige will freak out, and then she'll answer while she's in T-Rex mode. It's real fun.
Great. It's so great. Everything's fine. Everything's
I
fine.
could just stop looking at them all together, and then you freak out that I'm not interacting at all.
Yeah, don't do that either. No, some days I feel really talky. Like last night, I was talking to everybody. And then sometimes I'm just like, why is Sam not answering this person? Why do I gotta answer this person? I'm gonna freak out. What if they don't like us now because I didn't answer?
Because Sam is squirrely as fuck. That is my official title. Sam, the squirrely T-Rex fish.
See, you are a T-Rex and I'm like a turtle. I'm just gonna like go back into my shell. Just call me Shelly.
Alright, Shelly. What else we got going?
Don't forget to rate and review us, please.
That was weird.
What?
Your whole ass voice changed. The way you spoke changed. That was weird.
Why is it weird?
That's like me at work.
That's how I catfish people, Sam. I talk very gently and nice and sweet to them. And then I'm like, bitch, do what I say! Cut that.
No.
Damn it, Sam! Cut that! Oh!
No, that's beautiful.
No, that was bad.
No. I'll just make that part a little quieter.
Oh yeah, that's gonna hurt your ears.
You're like, bitch. Do we got anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Bye.